Om, that is the seed sound. It is from that the creation begins. That is the spiritual experience of the ancient rishis. In fact, there is a whole Upanishad describing Om, Mandukya Upanishad. 12 hymns are there, and it describes the various aspects of Om, four stages of Om. And the last stage is the ineffable, the sound which is indescribable. That is the Upanishadic experience. There is also the tantric experience of the divine Shakti. It is from Om that the creation begins. In fact, according to the tantric theory, the occult theory of Tantrism, there are four grades of sound, and the primary source of all the sound and all the movements is in Om. Now, before we talk about it, let us read what the mother has said about the mantra. The mother on the mantra. She describes it in one of her talks. Nobody can give you the true mantra. She is forthright, she is blunt. Nobody can give you the true mantra. It is not something that is given. It's something that wells up from within. It has to spring up from within. It must spring up from within all of a sudden, spontaneously. There is a profound, intense need of your being. So there has to be the constant intensity, constant aspiration, a sort of flame burning to receive the mantra, to receive the word. And it is only under these conditions that the true mantra can come to you. It is not given to you, it comes to you. Then it has power, because it's not something that comes from outside. It's your very own cry, your aspiration, the longing of your being, the condition in which you are, and in that condition, the anguish is such that I must have this, and then the mantra speaks out to you. I saw in my case, she's narrating her own personal experience. I saw in my case that my mantra has a power of immortality. She says straight away, my mantra has the power of immortality. Now, obviously, this is a mantra which has sprung us spontaneously from within her own soul. It is not given to her by somebody. This is a experience of the mother long, long before she came to India. This was in Paris. I saw in my case that my mantra has a power of immortality. Whatever happens, if it is uttered, it is supreme that has the upper hand. No power can stop the realization which the mantra brings. It's no longer the lower law, and the words are irrelevant. They may not have any meaning to someone else. My mantra is meaningless to others. It is my mantra. But to me, it's full, packed with meaning and effective, because it's my cry. Nobody can snatch away from me that. It is my cry. And it is in response to that cry of mine, I receive the advice, I receive the command, I received the advice, Adesh, I received the direction in which I must go. The intense aspiration of my whole being, a mantra given by a guru, is only the power to realize the experience of the discoverer of the mantra. The power is automatically there because the sound contains the experience. The sound contains the experience. That is the original sound. The original sound is that, and it contains the experience, and it is that experience which is transmitted by the guru to the disciple, to the Shishya. It is that experience. In fact, in the Indian tradition, when a child grows up, say around 7, 8 years old, and he is ready to start having his education, we perform what is called the thread ceremony in Indian traditions. And during the thread ceremony, the priest, the Purohit, in fact, the father himself, essentially the father himself, he utters the word from everybody around here, not visible, not audible to anybody else at all. The father and the son will be sitting together, and there will be a big shawl put around them so that nobody can see, nobody can hear what they are talking about. And at that time, when the father utters the mantra in the ear of his son, and from that point onward, then he is ready to begin his education. The mantra given by a guru is only the power to realize experience. So if the father has that experience, then, so to say, automatically in the young soul, it gets transmitted through the vehicle for the mantra. I saw that once in Paris, mother says, once in Paris, at a time when I knew nothing of India, absolutely nothing, only the usual nonsense of India. I didn't even know what a mantra was at the time when she was in Paris. And then she says, I had gone to a lecture all at once. In the course of his lecture, he uttered the sound, oh, and I saw the entire room suddenly filled with light, a golden vibrating light. I was probably the only one to notice it. I said to myself, well, then I didn't give it any more thought. I forgot about the story. But as it happened, the experience recurred in 2 or 3 different countries with different people. And every time there was a sound, oh, I would suddenly see the place filled with the same light. That sound contained the vibration of thousands and thousands of years of spiritual aspiration. There is in it the entire aspiration of man toward the Supreme, our aspiration to the Supreme. It is that which is contained in that Om. And the power is automatically there because the experience is there. It is sort of embedded in it permanently in that sound, that experience. And it is that which is conveyed from person to person. Now, here is something important. The mother says he was attending the lecture, and when the lecturer uttered the word Om, suddenly the whole room was filled with golden light, the spiritual light of the sun, golden, supramental light. Now, we do not know. We need not comment also that whether the lecturer had that knowledge of what he was uttering, what he was uttering. He uttered, oh, we say, oh, that's Savitri. We don't know what it is. You see. It could be even something like that, we don't know. But there is somebody here in the audience whose soul is ready and suddenly he sort of jumps up and catches that golden light. That is the mother's soul. It's a ready soul. And that ready voice, that particular person, he may be instrumental, a vehicle to convey something of that into her. But she got it, and she proceeded. We can say that perhaps this was the first initiation of the mother into the spiritual yoga. When she is attending the talk, she is of course a ready person and all that thing, but there has to be somebody instrumental to set things on the path. This person perhaps was the first initiator of the mother to set her on the yogic path. He uttered, oh, knowingly, unknowingly, or whatever to call it, but she received what is there behind it, the sound of the Supreme Himself speaking to her directly. She was able to receive that thing, and the yogic path begins from that point onward. In fact, in the case of Sri Aurobindo, there was no question of somebody uttering into his ear Om or any mantra. He was, of course, in search of somebody who would give him clue for his spiritual quest. And when he was in Baroda in 1908, around 1st January 1908, his brother Baren brought one yogi, Vishnu Bhaskar Lile, and there in Baroda they sat together for 3 days, and it is there in a isolated hall, completely cut off from everybody. They sat together for 3 days, and there Shivanu got the experience, not just experience, but the realization of the silent mind. His mind had become totally passive, calm, quiet. He saw that his thoughts were coming from outside, not they were born in the brain, they were coming from outside. Now, silent mind, that is the initiation for Sri Aurobindo. In the case of the mother, Om is the initiation, the vibrant, dynamic aspect of life, of sound, of the Brahman, that is the mother's initiation. In the case of Sri Aurobindo, the initiation is through the silent mind. Later on, of course, his spiritual progress went rapidly, very rapidly. It flew on the wings of the eagle, as one would say, to higher and higher skies. It went on climbing sky after sky. Within a few months, he had the most remarkable, most marvelous experience of the active Brahman in Alipur jail, when he was there in Alipur jail. He saw everywhere the divine presence. Vasudeva, 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 in the trees, the plants, in the jailer, the prisoners, everybody he saw in the courtroom, everybody he saw only the divine presence. That is the active part of it. So his sadhana was in that sense of a different type. But then He got the divine Adesh also on very two important points. On one occasion, he was told earlier, go to Chandarnagar. He quit all the political life, everything, and went to Chandarnagar. After a couple of months, he was told again, go to Pondicherry. Now that is the Adesha. That is the kind of a divine command which comes and it has certain imperative in it. Nobody can stop it if you are open to it. The only thing is you have to be faithful, you have to receive it and act according to what you are being told. That is the important thing. In fact, in the yoga of Savitri, as we shall see later on, at every important step of her sadhana, of her yoga, of her realization, she was constantly getting advice from her supreme source. The divine Savitri was constantly telling Savitri, now do this, now do this, now do this, now do this, like that. Ultimately, she tells her, Savitri, annul yourself totally, totally annul yourself, so that only God may be there. Nobody should exist there except God in you. Annul. That is the kind of an adesh command she gets at every stage. Of course, that happens when the soul is ready and when we are able to receive the Adesh and act according to it. That is how the sadhana of Savitri progresses. Within less than a year, she has acquired such power in her soul that she could confront death, meet death, conquer death. That is the kind of a sadhana which she had acquired. And not only that, she even confronts the Supreme Himself, who induces her and tells her, Savitri, welcome. You have come here to meet your husband, Satyavan. He is here. You come and stay here together in this heaven, in this beautiful place, in this wonderland. Savitri says, I am sorry. I am not interested in that thing. My concern is the soul of the earth. She asserts herself, my concern is the soul of the earth. I must go back to the earth with the soul of Satyavan to do your work. I want to do your work on earth. And that is why I want Satyavan back. Now that is the kind of a preparation she had and the will to exercise even in the face of the Supreme. She could assert, sorry, she tells him, sorry, I don't want your good things of life and all that. That is not for me. I want for the earth. So to even counter the will of the Supreme, it needs a different kind of a capacity. And I think that is what we have to have. We must exercise ourselves to acquire that kind of a capacity. Now, so the power of the mantra is all at once in the course of his lecture, he uttered a sound Om, and I saw the entire room suddenly filled with light, a golden vibrating light. I was probably the only one to notice it. That is not important, but a golden vibrating light, that is what she says here. Now that becomes the point of initiation. This is exactly what has happened here in the case of Savitri. Savitri has come of age to get married. Nobody is coming forward to claim her hand in marriage because she's so radiant, so powerful, so beautiful, nobody dares to approach her. So her father has a concern, what happens to my daughter? That is the kind of a concern here. And then he being a yogi, Ashwapati being a yogi, he goes into deep meditation. And in that meditation, he receives certain directions, certain commands, certain instructions how to